Hi, my name is Cynthia Tello, and I am very excited about talking with you today about the U.S. Hispanic population, a very diverse and dynamic segment that I'm very passionate about. Let me start by introducing myself. I was born and raised in Mexico City, and I am a mother of two bicultural Gen Z teenagers. I also have 20 years of combined experience in marketing, advertising, and market research, both with Hispanic market in the U.S. and in Latin America. To get started, let's gain some perspective on the Hispanic segment. Hispanics are the largest minority in the US. Nearly 1 in 5 people in the US are Hispanics, and they continue to grow at a very healthy rate, accounting for more than half of the US total population growth since 2010. Hispanics represent a purchase power of 2.7 trillion, and they are a very young segment with a median age of 28, which is 10 years younger than the median age of the US population. Hispanics are also one of the most entrepreneurial groups in the US, and Latino business growth is outpacing that of any other ethnic group. As you can tell, marketing to Hispanics has become a vital growth opportunity for companies in the US. Latinos tend to concentrate in the metropolitan areas of key states. For instance, California, Texas, and Florida have the largest Hispanic populations, accounting for 53% of Latinos in the US. But growth is happening everywhere, and Latinos continue to disperse geographically. In California and Texas, Hispanics represent 40% of each state's population, and at least 2 in 5 Latinos live in the metropolitan areas of 6 states: California, Texas, Florida, New York, Arizona, and Illinois. But there are also other Hispanic pockets emerging in cities that didn't used to be Hispanics, like Atlanta, Denver, Baltimore, and many more. Hispanics, we all come in different shapes and forms. There are 21 Latin American countries, each with their own food and with their own music. And while we all speak Spanish, we have different accents, different words, and different levels of formality for the language. Also, we have different races. The predominant race is white, but we also have Black Hispanics, Asian Hispanics, and indigenous Hispanics. We have different colors as well. And the Hispanics really want those differences to be recognized and acknowledged by brands. In terms of country of origins, the majority is Mexicans. Actually, 1 in 6 Hispanic is Mexican, but really Hispanics of all other countries are growing. It is interesting to see that growth rates from 5 countries are exceeding 50%. For instance, Dominican Republic, Guatemala, Colombia, and Honduras have experienced very interesting growth. And the one that is astonishing is Venezuela. They have the fastest growth, exceeding 200% growth in the recent years. And the composition of the Hispanic population is different depending on metropolitan areas. The West, Texas, and Illinois, they tend to be predominantly Mexican, but we also see that the East is more diverse. In the New York area, it is predominantly Puerto Rican and Dominican, with some presence of Ecuadorians, Venezuelan, and Salvadorians. And Florida is predominantly Cuban, with strong presence of Puerto Ricans and Venezuela and in Colombia. They actually said that Miami is the most diverse Hispanic city in the US, and one that might mirror how Hispanics will be spreading in the future. Now, it is interesting to see that we were talking about those different countries or minor countries growing. Well, this is actually a very interesting segment to keep an eye on. Non-Mexican Hispanics are growing at a higher rate than Hispanics, and right now, 1 in every 3 Hispanics are of non-Mexican origin. They also have a different immigrant profile with stronger bilingual capabilities, strong consumption of digital media, and also higher disposable income. These are people mostly coming from Venezuela and other South American countries. They are establishing themselves in the East Coast and in Texas, and they're forming new enclaves like Little Caracas in Queens. So it's interesting to see how the future will pan out. Acculturation also is different, and that shapes the Hispanic experience. Unacculturated Hispanics tend to be Spanish dominant, foreign born, and they are the ones that might maintain the strongest ties to their country of origin. We have biculturals, which are the largest and fastest growing segment. They tend to be bilingual, often speaking Spanglish. And acculturated are the third segment, usually English dominant and 3rd or 4th generation Hispanics. This is very fluent, as different agencies have different algorithms for determining acculturation, but these are the main difference between the 3. And what is interesting is to see that the pace of Hispanics is changing. For example, newborns and not new immigrants are the ones driving the US Hispanic growth. And 1 in 4 Latinos right now are US citizens. They are increasingly multiracial, with more than 1 in 3 Hispanics self-identifying as having more than one race. That is usually white and some other race. They're also more educated, with over 4 in 10 Hispanic adults having at least some college experience, and this trend is even higher among women. They're gaining a purchase power, with the Hispanic household income increasing to $55K and growing at 39%, which is outpacing the US population growth at 31%. They're also making America younger, with 25% of millennials and 28% of alphas being Hispanic. And actually, by 2060, 1/3 of those people in the US under 18 will be Hispanic. You would think that because newborns are driving the growth, that Hispanics would be acculturating more, but that's actually far from the truth. Hispanics are one of the communities that are really strongly connected to the roots, mostly through family, history, food, language, and music. And rather than assimilation, what we're seeing is biculturalism and retroculturation, with Hispanics consciously seeking for the cultural identities, especially through food, language, music, and celebrations. And they're really going back to the roots, rediscovering their Hispanic identity and their pride, and they're passing it on to their children. That is happening mostly among US-born Hispanics. We also see that there is a resurgence in Spanish language. Currently, there are 40 million people, Hispanics, speaking Spanish at home, because Spanish is usually the connector to older generations and to family abroad. And it is also a key element to fully experience the Hispanic, or the Hispanic culture. And this is interesting that even though 1 in 3 Latinos 5+ speak English proficiently, 62% of millennials have an increased interest in Spanish, and 86% of Hispanic parents 35 or younger are speaking Spanish to their children. So in summary, Hispanics consider that being bicultural is a superpower. And while they're constantly seeking the optimal balance between preserving their culture and integrating to the US, they consider that being bicultural enables them to live richer lives and allow for better professional opportunities. Hispanics are also influencing the mainstream culture. Specifically, Hispanic millennials, they are trendsetters, and they're impacting the American mainstream culture, mainly in food, music, entertainment, and sports. For example, did you know that salsa has taken over ketchup as the most popular American condiment? And also guacamole, chips, and salsa, they are now among the top 10 foods for Super Bowl parties. And the number 1 music genre watched on TV, yes, you guys, on YouTube, it is Latin music, you guessed it. So Hispanics are really making significant contributions to the US economy and to society, and they're increasingly aware of the impact that they have on the US society. Among US-born, there is this stronger connection with the Latino community, and there is a strong desire to see Hispanics taking a more prominent role in America. With that said, it is important to listen through the lens of culture and understand the cultural nuances of the largest minority in the US. When it comes to research, Spanish language is just the tip of the iceberg. It really pays off to engage culturally fluent researchers that understand the Hispanic diversity, the values, and the subtleties of humor and language, because that will lead to greater empathy, relevance, connection, and authenticity. So with that said, I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, what are the biggest challenges that you have faced when including Hispanics or multicultural consumers in your research projects? And the second one is, how can you better integrate Hispanics in your overall research projects? Thank you.